Well, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you are not aware of the caliber.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? GZTV back with another video, and in this video we are starting a brand new series right here on the channel where we will be watching It. Welcome to Derry. We have the series premiere here, the pilot. You have this American supernatural horror television series based on Stephen King's story with It. It is a prequel, and I was expecting this prequel to maybe fill in some gaps about the weird cursed town of Derry, how things got this way, and maybe even how Pennywise first emerged. I'll be honest, I didn't think the show was really necessary. I figured it could surprise me. Setting it in 1962 is a nice touch though. I love that old school vibe, and even though we're working with a fresh set of characters, exciting to be back in this universe 6 years after It Chapter 2 came out, which by the way, the modern films I haven't reviewed yet, I've watched them numerous times. Haven't got to review them yet though, so I will be doing that. And by the way, since I didn't want to bring Pennywise into the episode here, let me see if you guys can see this in frame. I brought him with me, so there you go, there's Pennywise. I'll sit him over here so you can see him, right here. You can kind of see him. Okay. When the episode started, I actually liked the setup with Matt Clements being kidnapped. It had potential, but the goofiness and odd tone kind of threw me off. I know that quirky horror energy is part of what made it iconic as a series, especially for the time when shows like Beetlejuice were coming out and that quirky horror worked. But here, it just felt out of place. We are in 2025. I don't think that's going to work anymore. Still, I mean, it's Halloween when I'm recording this, so it's at least festive enough for that and gives enough reason for that. So let's get into it. We're going to format these like our movie reviews, so we're going to get into the premise. So the story kicks off with Matt Clements, a kid from a poor family who sneaks into movie screenings for free because he doesn't have the money to. He has to hitchhike rides home, and one unlucky night he hitches a ride with this perfect nuclear family, but everything goes south fast. The mom suddenly gives birth to a demon baby, the family acts super weird, and things spiral from there. He got kidnapped. We can assume he died, but I don't think he did. 4 months later, Matt's friends, Teddy and a few others, I can't remember their fucking names, I'm a casual with this stuff, they try to figure out what happened to him. I think it's 4 months. Through visions, drains, and weird sewer messages, classic Derry stuff, they realize he's been trying to reach them from underground, which is cool. I mean, it's kind of like a Stranger Things type of thing, but Molly, the daughter of the local theater owner, joins the group, and together they start uncovering clues that tie Matt's disappearance to something darker beneath the town. The weird part is all the extra fluff, I will say. We'll get into all the nitty-gritty here in a second, but like the military subplot, plague masked people, strange hallucinations, none of it really connects yet, but I do know that they have like 6 or 7 more episodes left. I think it's an 8-episode series. I didn't expect Pennywise to show up right away, but man, that would have helped, especially for how they told this pilot. The blood, the drains, the little nods are there, but the pilot didn't reel me in. I'll get to it overall, but it's a decent setup, and it's just, again, Stranger Things all over again. Kids investigating weirdness, bright tone, predictable tension. Not terrible, just something I've seen before. That's all I gotta say about it. So getting into the good, I think the gore works. I think like the horror of it is kind of fun. It's nasty in a fun way, and the atmosphere feels kind of right. I will say the actual horror of this thing's pretty good. I'll give them credit. It does feel like the 1960s as well. Like it feels very much like a period piece. The sets, costumes, even the cheesy dialogue kind of fits the period, so that part felt authentic. You know me, I love when a movie or show nails its era, and this definitely did. I love these little time pieces, and when it's done right, and it's great. The cinematography is somewhat clean, the production looks pretty good, and the blood and guts moments are a nice callback to classic It energy. It definitely pays homage, it definitely borrows from what other directors and Stephen King has done before with this franchise and with this title. The kids sell their roles too. I mean, you can tell they're genuinely trying and not just acting like mini adults, which gives the show a little bit of heart. A few jump scares actually landed sometimes, and the opening hook was strong before it kind of went off the rails with where it went. So that's kind of all I have for the good. These aren't going to be long videos because I'm really just talking about an hour of television. So getting into the bad, honestly, a lot of this was boring. I'm not going to lie. This was a pretty boring episode. It's not that I wanted a deep origin story. I mean, look, we have 8 episodes of the show, but if you're going to make one, at least make it feel necessary. And I do think the pilot should pack more of a punch than a lot of the other episodes in the series, because a lot of the other episodes in the series are supposed to kind of carry the story forward, not necessarily give you these fat ass revelations. Mid-season finales and the actual finale of a season should pack the punch, but the pilot should too, and I don't think it was there. I don't know what the hell this military subplot is. I don't know if I'm missing something. I don't know if it's been a while since I've watched the originals and all of the modern films, but what is that for? Who cares about soldiers in Derry? Like, yeah, you gotta save the city, there's a lot of weird shit going on. I can get behind that, I understand that, that, but the plague mask people, still no clue what that was about. Like, they didn't even really explain it, and maybe that was them trying to have this cliffhanger going into the next episode. But it's like, were those weird visions they saw because of Derry? Was the recruiters playing a test on them? I don't fucking know. They didn't even really tell us. The writing wasn't awful, but it had no sense of urgency too. Again, pilots are supposed to grab you, and this one just kind of meanders. The scares were predictable. I will say that is a bad part about the scares. Like, some of them were pretty gnarly and I was invested. Every jump scare has like this 5-second silence before it hits, and you can see them coming from a mile away. I hate movies that do that. It maybe worked in like the 80s and 90s possibly, but 2025, no. The demon baby was laughably dumb looking and goofy, not scary at fucking all. Like, it was kind of creepy, like it was like, oh, like kind of gross in a way, but that's just like eye candy. Maybe that kind of bizarre 80s 90s horror worked back in that era again with Beetlejuice and movies like that, but now it just feels silly. The tone shifts constantly, sometimes creepy, sometimes goofy, sometimes just plain weird, and the story never decides what kind of horror it wants to be. So with that being said, I think that can kind of sum up my bad here. I know these videos should be a little longer, but getting into the okay, I think the setup is fine overall, like with the whole kidnapping and Matt Clements. Not great, not terrible, just kind of there. It didn't feel like a total waste of time because the universe is interesting, like, and obviously they've had very big success with not only the books but also the novels. Obviously Stephen King is an amazing mind to dive into, and just what he's been doing in literature, what he's been doing for the film industry and for horror is great, but it also didn't give me a real reason to care. I like this setup. I like what they chose to do. It's just the way they told it wasn't the greatest. The only thing keeping me curious is the hope that Pennywise eventually shows up and does something memorable and actually terrorizes the city, because that's what we're here for. We're here for the horror villain. You don't have a prequel to A Nightmare on Elm Street and don't include Freddy, and again, I know I was fine at the beginning of this review for not having him here, but fuck that. That makes no sense that he's not even at least like making a cameo. They just show a goddamn sewer a few times and it's like, oh, okay, like what the fuck? If the series leans into that instead of all the stupid ass military shit, like, oh, fighting this weird shit off, it might actually go somewhere. But right now, it's off to a pretty meh start. I wouldn't be too optimistic about this series turning out good. Now, there has been plenty of examples of series that start very slow and they pick you up. I think Breaking Bad's a decent example of that. Man, I just can't justify like enjoying this thoroughly. I don't know. If you did, cool, kudos to you, but to me, missing a lot of stuff, missing some energy, missing some direction in the story, and paying homage and bringing in Pennywise. I think that's what it was missing. I will kind of give this a review. The pilot has all the potential in the world. Like, you have everything you need. You have the setup, you have movies that maybe hinted at prequel stuff and maybe hinted at origin stories. There's a solid setting, there's good tone, there's a promising mystery here, and it's a really good and successful title, but it squanders most of it with very clunky pacing, odd tonal choices, and characters that don't quite click. It's not an absolutely terrible episode, and it's not so repulsive that I'm not gonna come back to it, but it's not good either. It just sort of floats there. Good. Waiting for something interesting to happen. I mean, if you're a diehard fan of the It universe, it's worth checking out once. Otherwise, maybe wait until Pennywise actually makes his fucking entrance. I don't know. Like, obviously you have to watch like the whole series if you're going to, but I think as of now, I don't really know what I would give it. Probably like a low 6 out of 10, just in terms of rating. Now, I know I usually don't like rate episodes of TV shows. I think that's kind of silly, but maybe looking back on it, it would be beneficial too, because if this series picks it up to 100 and I have a shitty pilot review, hey, this might actually pay off. By the way, I did shave my face. This is the first time YouTube is seeing me that way. But episode 2 is actually out now. It came out on Halloween, which is when I'm recording this. So I will go watch that as soon as I am done editing this. Definitely on Saturday, definitely tomorrow I will get to it because I'm with my dad and we want to watch the series together. Again, maybe I need to go back and rewatch the modern remakes and to see like what actually needs to have an origin story, because I don't really see why they did this here. But then again, I don't know. Maybe more content is better. I guess I can't complain. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow the socials, do all that stuff. It is your boy GZTV. I am out. I'm gonna go try to enjoy the rest of my Halloween evening. I have a costume. Go tune in on the Instagram. I'll pop it up on the screen. We will be posting that for show. Peace.